Interesting, this says Berlin, 2,380 kilometers. I wonder if this is an expat. When I walked down this street from the direction to the right, I was so focused on that French house or building that I completely missed this. And only after I got behind where I am now, a full block, and looked back, did I see it. I know what that is. How interesting. Several interesting houses. This is interesting in the brown because it's somewhat reminiscent of the early homes, the one that still exists in the center of town that I'll show you when I redo myself the walking tour. Notice the sailboat in the window. Here, a mixture of the wood and the steel, built in 1909. But notice what looks like a concrete, or at least a cement-covered stone, first floor sub-basement. Next door, it'll work, except on this side where they're putting in this addition. I wonder if that's a classic piece of architecture or something as the homeowners added. It's a very pretty little roundabout in this part of town that I'm lost in. Here another glimpse at the underlayrments, if you will, of the original buildings. This looks like one of the classic old homes. What a quaint little tiny neighborhood this is. What a lovely little house with this very interesting carved stone here. You wonder if there's any legitimate history to this. Obviously a face. I've wandered downhill just to reorientate myself. Down there where you can see people stopping for a light is the main street that I usually use. It goes off to the right and I'll use it to leave town. It's called the Hot Springs Road, originally, in its language. This is a combination high school, college type of institution. Moving a little bit farther away from the center of Old Town. Do a lovely job with these little mini parks. Very pretty floral arrangements. Here's another water closet, and I just saw a man walk out of it, so I know it can be used. So after all, you do just push the button, and I guess it's free, but I'm afraid to go in until I know for sure. Just to orientate ourselves, there is the back of the old Parliament building, and I'm now standing at the end of this natural lake. To my right, you see the unknown bureaucrat, this little park art is known as. Anyone's interpretation what that means. Our modern vantage point is probably in front of that church. You can see there's an embankment in front where I think the lake overflows what now is River Road, under River Road. On the far right is where we just were, standing next to the unknown bureaucrat. And I'll pan this lake. Those homes over there are the early homes of the wealthy. Not terribly pretentious in terms of other places, but it was in this context. This is a natural lake of fresh water. It's always been that way. Apparently the water flows from the south to the north. This used to be a river here where the lake would empty out into the ocean along what is now called River Road. It's land right in on top of Reykjavik. As you notice, this road goes all the way down to the new event center built in, I think it was 2011 it was finished. And the river then runs underneath the road through a tunnel. The University of Iceland is down there beyond those school buses and to the right. And apparently that tall building there is the National Museum, which perhaps I'll get a chance to visit. Here's some interesting wood detail that's being restored on this older building. Probably that's an entrance. I say interesting, remember it's in the context of Iceland, not in the context of Europe or Asia. Here's the National Gallery of Iceland. I'm not terribly interested in art, so I won't go in there. Here we're poking from the exterior into someone's kitchen, seeing the way they decorate it. And down the street here is the American flag. My guess is this is the American Embassy, known to be the most well-defended point in Iceland. I think that's humorous. As an American, you realize we're the biggest and most important target in the world. This little house is dated 1897. Yet the one behind me, I don't know what its date is, but it is either ready for restoration, somebody's planning on it. And this is how they take care of recycling. It's interesting, some concepts like this are not just eco-friendly, they're infrastructurally necessary, I suspect, when you consider that Iceland has a population of a little bit more than 300,000, and it has a tourism of 1.4 million last year, 1.7 million projected this year. There's a lot of trash being created by me. Here is kind of a little rundown local park, but with a large dramatic wall mural. Now about to enter Enar Jonsson Sculpture Garden. These look like cannons, bullets there, shells. There are skeletons lying on some kind of a stretcher. A man on bended knee holding a child. Reminiscent of some of the park art that we've seen. At least the major figure here is the smoothness of this art. But notice how he is kissing the head and embracing, enfolding almost, the woman who lies in a shroud, alive or dead, not known. But it's entitled Earth, 1904, 1908. A dramatic sculpture. Even the horse itself looks somewhat tortured in that position. A dramatic horse. But the horse is sat upon others. Curious. It's called Fate. Some are embraced and supported by the horse, others trampled underfoot. This is called Spring. A beautiful young person, can't be sure if it's man or woman. And it looks like something like an eggshell is being broken open, but is it in fact a skull or two skulls opening up, allowing for the rebirth of what those two women may reflect, they in themselves reflecting birth or spring? Facial expression is interesting. One of contemplation, contentment, anticipation. Doesn't appear to be pushing the event, merely providing its backdrop and support. Not two women, but a man perhaps and a woman, just a man with long hair. This has no decipherable title to it. Interesting. It looks like that device the man is holding can be closed. And looks like a child halfway into it.